Ketanji Brown Jackson will become the first black woman to serve as a justice on the Supreme Court after being confirmed by the Senate yesterday. My next guest says while Democrats voted for Jackson, they actually filibustered to try and block Judge Janice Rogers Brown for an appellate position. A black woman who was first nominated to the U.S. Court of Appeals in 2003 by then President George W. Bush. President Biden, who was a senator then, said in an interview it would have been very, very difficult for her to be confirmed if she had been nominated to the Supreme Court because of her conservative views. Spokesperson for the Republican National Committee, Paris Dennard, joining us this morning with more on this double standard. And Paris, a very intriguing article that you wrote in USA Today. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So you point out that despite Democrats pushed for inclusion and confirmed the first black woman to the Supreme Court, if Judge Jackson was a conservative, they would have blocked it. You wrote the left hates a black conservative. Why is that?
You know, it's because the left cannot understand why someone that happens to be a minority can think outside of the liberal progressive box that they want minorities, especially black people, to be in. Just look at what Joe Biden said when he's on the campaign trail. He verbally, audibly said, if you are confused or trying to figure out if you're going to vote for Donald Trump or Joe Biden, then you ain't black. Signaling to the black community that you have to stay with the Democrat Party. And if you veer off of the box that we have for you in the liberal box, the Democrat box, the Democrat Party box, then you're not even associated with your own culture, with your own race. It was a form of voter suppression. It was wrong. It was bigoted. But that's what Democrats do and consistently do in terms of denigrating and besmirching the character of anyone who is a minority, especially a black American who dares be Republican.
And Paris, in your article, you mentioned Justice Clarence Thomas. You said he is not a partisan activist the way the left makes him out to be, but an advocate of freedom and the Constitution like yourself. And you point out that those who talk about inclusion, you said, are the very ones who exclude anyone who does not believe or think like they do. Tell us how Justice Thomas and so many other black conservatives have faced this in our country.
Well, you know, it's unfortunate that black conservatives like myself and so many others face this constant attack from the left and the mainstream media because we dare to think for ourselves and be independently minded when it comes to how we decide to formulate our own political opinions. We saw that with Justice Thomas, and he called it a modern day lynching, to be specific. And so a high-tech lynching is what he called it. And so what we have to do is just stand together, be firm in our beliefs and not be swayed by the Democrats and the liberal mob that comes after us and tries to tear us down and attack us for who we are and whose we are. I remember my grandfather told me, he said, Paris, at the time, he said, I don't like your party, and I don't like your president, but I love you and I love you in your party. Stay in your party because I know you know who you are and whose you are. Continue to fight and to support our people, but from the conservative or Republican perspective. And that's all that we try to do and all that I have done. And I think people should remember that and not question someone's integrity or question someone's connectivity to their community or to their culture just because they happen to be a Republican.
Paris, you know what's so interesting is that you know Justice Thomas very well. Tell us about his political evolution from a liberal young man to this conservative-minded judge he is today. How did that happen? Do you know?
Yeah, I would encourage people to go to justicethomas.com, the website that has his movie that he talks in his own words, straight to camera, about his political evolution and his story that he articulated in his book, My Grandfather's Son. But Justice Thomas was a radical, liberal, young black man. He was affiliated with Stokely Carmichael, and he was out there just very, very radical, very upset. But he had a political evolution as he had his son, Jamal, and he had to raise him, and he got involved in having to work. And he got a job with then Senator Danforth, who happened to be a Republican. And his ideas changed with Ronald Reagan because Ronald Reagan, he said at the time, was trying to undo the social experiments of the 60s that he saw firsthand that was hurting his community and hurting his family. And so he had a political change in the way he thought about politics and going back to the heart of what it all is, which is the Constitution and our founding documents. And so I encourage everyone to watch the movie and read his book to see how he came to be the conservative-minded justice that we know today. It's fascinating.
And how do you think he and Ketanji Brown Jackson will work together serving on the bench?
I think they're going to get along just fine. I think that what you see from the Supreme Court is a brother and sisterhood. They all work together, and they are more alike than people really give them credit to. You've seen some unlikely pairings and unlikely friendships on the bench, and I think that he will do what she did not do, which was reach out to Janice Rogers Brown, and she said she didn't even take the time to meet her, let alone get to know her story. And he actually said, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson said that she couldn't understand Clarence Thomas. Well, I hope she gets the opportunity to fully understand him now, because he's now the longest serving Supreme Court justice.
That's right. Paris, you were speaking about your grandfather just now, and you are the spokesperson for the RNC. I'm just curious, how has being a black conservative man and serving in this position impacted you personally? Because you too have faced backlash.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to even sugarcoat it. It's been very hard. It's been very tough. But I've been fortunate enough to have the support of my family and support of my Republican colleagues and mentors and so many people who come up to me every single day almost. And I see people from the community all over the country. They say, you know what? I may not agree with everything that you say, but I respect you. And I appreciate your perspective and your point of view. And so I appreciate the opportunities that I have to come on programs like this and share my conservative Republican ideas, because I know it impacts people. I know it changes minds. I know it encourages others to think for themselves and be unashamed in their belief system, because that's what America's all about. It's about being able to make up your own mind and forge your own path and achieve your own version of the American dream. And so while it has been tough, while I get ridiculed in the press and social media, it does not faze me, because I know who I am, whose I am, and why I am a Republican and a strong conservative.
And Paris, as we look toward the midterms, President Biden right now really has approval ratings continue to plummet, specifically, though, from black Americans. What can we expect, do you think, for the Republican Party in the midterms? Will we see any kind of shift from black voters?
I think we will. We're already seeing that shift. You know, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for instance, we are registering so many more Republicans right now than we have ever before. We're doing it from our black community center that we have there. We have 8 black community centers across the country. We see Wesley Hunt at Texas 38, black Republican, winning his primary. We saw, and he's heading to Congress. And we've seen Harriet Holman in South Carolina switch parties. And we've seen so many other black Republicans stepping up to run for office, over 70 running for Congress, over 100 that are running for positions across the country in different positions, from federal all the way down to local. And I think that when it comes to retiring Nancy Pelosi, there are going to be a lot of black Republicans coming to Congress that are going to be a part of that wave, that red wave, that are going to retire her and change the face of the Republican Party, that's going to continue to diversify. But the Republican National Committee is going to continue to engage. We're going to continue to use our community centers. We're going to continue to do what our chairwoman, Ronna McDaniel, has done with our strategic nationwide black engagement strategy, and it's working, and it's effective, and it's important that we're doing it. And I think it's going to reap great benefits, because black Americans are suffering disproportionately because of the terrible policies of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the Democrats that are in control, whether it's inflation, gas prices, or public safety and fentanyl that's pouring over our border. It's a true travesty what we see happening in our country, and the Democrats are responsible for it.
Paris Dennard, we appreciate you joining us here on this Friday. Hope you have a great weekend.